Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. I'm Lina V, your holistic language coach, and today we're going to look at the key differences between a language teacher and a language coach. But before we do, remember to subscribe to my channel so you never miss out on any content here in our multilingual language learning space. And let's get into the video now. So you've decided to learn a language. Now, should you go to a language teacher or a language coach to help you reach your goals? Or maybe you're interested in teaching languages. Same question, which one do you choose? The path of a teacher or the path of a coach? What even is the difference, and how do you know which one to choose? Those are the two main things that we're going to look at in this video. Now let's start off with defining the difference between a language teacher and a language coach. When you go to a language teacher, you're entering a space where there's a defined curriculum. So that is at the center, and you coming along may have specific goals that this curriculum is going to meet. Now the difference with the coach is that it's very student-centered. You are at the center, and that means that it's more personalized and also more malleable in the sense of where your goals may change along the process, so too the coach will adapt the teaching methodologies and the coaching area that you're entering in. And something that I really want to stress is there actually isn't one that is better than the other. You may have different purposes for going to a language teacher and different purposes for going to a language coach. So how do you choose? Well, you would go to a language teacher if you have, as I said, very specific goals. So for example, you want to learn and ace everything that you need to know for an A2 exam. So looking at the CEFR, for example, which is commonly the tool that is used particularly in Europe for defining these language levels. Now, a language teacher bases their work around a certain type of curriculum, often to reach those levels, to obtain an accreditation. So if you want to obtain an accreditation and get a certificate for A2, B1, B2, etc., you would most likely go to a language teacher. And language teachers you also find at university, where when you're looking at the curriculum for the school year, you will already see exactly what you're going to learn, what resources you're going to need, and it's all very set in place. So if you are trying to get a degree in a language, or as I said, you're trying to get the accreditation, then you would most likely want to go to a language teacher. Now, why would you want to choose a language coach? What is a language coach there for? As I mentioned, a language coach in that space puts you as the learner first. So it means that the goals for your learning process to learn a language are specified by you. The coach isn't there to tell you what you should learn. The coach starts off with a very inquisitive process, so they want to get to know who you are as a learner. They have and should have an awareness of your psychology, of what does it actually mean to learn, what are the specifics in finding out for somebody or helping somebody find out how to tap into their highest potential as a learner. They help you discover your learning style. They help you discover who you are and who you want to be in that language. And so those are some of the key differences between a language teacher and a language coach. Once again, to put it very simply, in a language teacher space, the curriculum is in the center. In a language coaching space, you, the learner, are the driving force. You are at the center. So for example, if you wanted to learn Spanish because you wanted to join me here in Mexico and you were looking at relocating for the next year or maybe 3 years, doesn't matter. But your goals were specified towards using the language more in life, right? So you're not necessarily looking to obtain a certification. You're looking at integrating yourself into the world that is, your everyday life in living in that country and needing that language. So that is where a language coach is perhaps more suited to help you out. And also, if you've never learned a language before, a language coach may be a better option because, as I said, they also hold the responsibility in helping you identify your strengths and your weaknesses, helping you grow as a learner so that you can become an autodidact, so that you understand how you learn, as I said, and how to take that learning process outside of the classroom. A language teacher may not be the best person to go to in that instance, because even though they could supply you with, let's say, the content that you would need to learn, it's very much leaving you without a lot of extra support. So, for example, if you already know, yes, I'm going to be moving to Mexico, I already know how I learn, I already know what I want to learn, I just don't know how to get the content, and you're already quite a self-sufficient learner, then that's where a language teacher may help you out. So it's not about, once again, which one is better or worse. It's about what do you need as a learner. Do you want somebody who holds space, who helps you along the learning process in terms of understanding how you learn, using all aspects of yourself, who helps you identify the blocks that you may have to learning, some of the obstacles that are in your way, and also alongside that helps you with the language? Or do you want something that is a little bit more structured, a little bit more set in stone with very clear outcomes, very clear points, and is a more kind of graded based system? So if that's the case, that's where a language teacher helps you. And the former is the role of a language coach. And now, what about if you're interested in actually becoming a facilitator for other people who want to learn a language? Should you choose the path of a language teacher or a language coach? You can look at the same points that I highlighted for the learner in exactly the same way. So, are you somebody who prefers to have more structure, who prefers to already receive a curriculum and you just go and teach? And you can integrate, of course, elements of yourself. Your own personality, for example, will always shine through if you're a teacher. It doesn't matter if you're teaching at a school, at a university, or one-to-one in that way. That's where you're probably most suited to be a language teacher. But if you, for example, want to have a little bit more, let's say, flexibility, so you want to involve other things from other areas of expertise, such as psychology, or music, or literature, or dance even, then for that type of thing, the path of a language coach may be more suited to you and your personality. So, it's the difference between having more structure, more of an academic environment, or flexibility and space to mold things the way that you wish to by putting the learner first. So to really stress, neither one is better than the other. And I want to give you an example of how I, as a holistic language coach, actually utilize some of the strategies and tools that a language teacher dominates and professes. So, for example, I also get students who want to pass an exam, right? So I had a student who was looking at passing his B2 exam. And so what I do is I actually take the curriculum and I take some of the tools that a language teacher has and incorporate it into my holistic learning techniques and strategies. So what that means is that my student will also receive a personal development program whilst learning the language, which you will never get at a university. But at the same time, I have a structure in my teaching to some extent where we're ticking off the things that are necessary content-wise to achieve and receive the grade or the proficiency that he desires to pass that exam. So that's just an example of how these things overlap, and vice versa. As I mentioned for a language teacher, it's not that there's rigidity involved. Not to say that they can't or don't actually involve certain personal development techniques or, for example, helping you identify what your strengths and weaknesses are. Of course they do. And I know plenty of language teachers that do so. It's just that the environment is putting the curriculum at the center and the content at the center, and it's more passive in that way versus a language coaching environment where the learner is really at the center of the whole process. So hopefully this video helped you understand the difference between what a language teacher is and does and a language coach. And so when you're looking at learning a language, you can now make the most informed decision to help you understand what you are looking for and what's going to help you achieve your personal goals. And the same thing, if you are somebody looking at becoming a trainer in this space, if you want to be a language teacher or a language coach, this information should give you some insights into the path that is most suited for you and your personality. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel where you will see more content in multiple languages on these topics. And I'm Lina B, and remember, you can learn any language with me.